So in a really close battle, you know, if you peel off 2%, maybe you don't get the 50%. Or maybe you keep below that margin and don't come out a winner. But I just want to share this with the audience. Here is Walker statewide at about 30% or 43%. Now here is Kemp and Abrams. So again, you see the difference, right? 47.4, and he's right around 43. So he stayed at that margin, guys, of about 4 or 4.5, no more than 5. But there was a separation of about 4.5 points between what Kemp is doing and the governor's race and what Herschel Walker is doing in the Senate race. And maybe in the end that matters, so just keep an eye on that. Now, I mentioned these incumbents, and I'm going to come back to this right here, just to complete the play, as we said. I'll come back to Senate mode here. Remember, Republicans are trying to hang on to their incumbents, otherwise all the gains you're making in Florida don't matter. This is Ohio 1, that's my hometown, that's Cincinnati. Steve Chabot, he is a political cockroach in all the best sense, in that he wins races that people don't expect him to win. They chopped up his district. They gave him a big part of the city of Cincinnati. And this district really runs against him. And with about a third of the vote in, he is trailing. So if Greg Landsman holds on and beats Steve Chabot, that would be one of those flips now that Republicans they need to find another seat to flip in order to get the majority in the House. So we're watching that throughout the night. Here is where you are in the Senate, just about 11% in. Tim Ryan leading J.D. Vance, and we'll see where the vote comes in throughout the night. The 3 C's, guys: Cincinnati, Columbus, and Cleveland. I could go on for about 3 more hours, but my time is up. You're going to take it around 3 times.
We'll be back shortly. All right, so let's go to Tucker Carlson, who joins us tonight. Tucker, great to have you with us. And thinking about you, also a big Florida resident. You know, you spend a lot of time there. We've got double-digit wins for the governor, Ron DeSantis, and also Marco Rubio. A huge win when you look at what has transformed in Miami-Dade County. What are you thinking, Tucker?
Well, I think it's Miami-Dade County that really jumps out. DeSantis lost it by a lot 4 years ago. He's winning it pretty solidly, it looks like right now. So what you're looking at is a realignment of voters. And I really think we're undervaluing the extent to which BLM, the Democratic Party, going all in for Black Lives Matter movement in the summer of 2020, really moved Hispanic voters to the Republican side. I think it shows up in polling results. Nobody wants to say it, but it's absolutely a meaningful factor, I would say, in this. But, I mean, if tomorrow morning we wake up and these numbers in Miami-Dade and Texas are real, and possibly in Arizona, then I think you're looking at really different Democratic formation.
What do you make of the numbers, Tucker, that we're seeing out of Pennsylvania? Like, that Senate race is really, really close. It could be a long time before.
Well, that's the problem, and I feel so sorry for you, Brad, and Martha, because it probably will be a very late night for you and a tense one, and it points up the problem. Look, the country is really closely divided in a lot of places. Pennsylvania is one, Nevada, Arizona, lots of different places. And so you're going to have close election results. And people have to have confidence that those results are real, that they can trust the mechanics of the election. And what happened today in Maricopa County, where some huge percentage of voting machines, electronic voting machines, according to the Arizona Republic, 30%, they claim these are Dominion voting machines, but it almost doesn't matter. Electronic voting machines didn't allow people to vote, apparently. And that, whatever you think of it, the cost of it, it shakes people's faith in the system. And that is an actual threat to democracy. And it points up the core problem, which is we're not really very serious about democracy if we're using electronic voting machines, or if we're not requiring photo ID to vote. We could have secure elections. We don't, because a small number of people don't want them. But until we do, you're going to have these moments where everybody in the country fears volatility, because one side doesn't believe the result is real. You've seen it on both sides. I mean, you saw yesterday Democrats suggesting that electronic voting machines could be hacked. Democrats, this ran in Politico. So it's not just, you know, the crazy right. It's everybody is losing faith in the system itself. So I hope that there's one thing that comes out of this, and I hope it's bipartisan. No more electronic voting machines. France doesn't use them because they care about democracy. Require ID, and then we can just call it a day. Everyone knows the election results can be believed, and the temperature goes down. I really hope that happens.
Yeah.
Tucker, I knew this was going to happen someday, and now it finally happened.
Rick and you at the same time. The exact same time. We at the same time.
It's election time.
Some strong happening.
Not quite. Something like that.
You know, Tucker, you just said a moment ago, a different Democrat coalition, and I think that depending on where this all goes tonight, we're just looking at some of the early results right now. That might be one of the big stories that really emerges from this moment. We're seeing groups that have been courted by Democrats for more than a generation, who are now making a choice that is not based on the box that they have been told they belong in and who they should vote for, but they are, interested in all the same things that all Americans are interested in because they're Americans.
That's exactly right. And it's really a hopeful outcome, I would say. And I'm not saying that as a partisan. I'm saying it because you don't want a country where it's white men against everybody else. And that really was the dream of the Democratic Party. That's the politics they hope to create. And what you're seeing is instead NPR listeners versus everyone else. Right? So in the end, you're going to have a Democratic coalition that's only people with pledge drive tote bags versus the whole country. And they're not going to win if that's what they're left with.
We knew we could count on you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Tucker.
Next up, we head to Denver to check in on the Colorado Senate race, testing the power of the Trump endorsement out there.
Plus results from some key House races. We're watching those 3 races in Virginia that are a real bellwether here. We'll get you an update on those as our Fox News special coverage of the midterm elections rolls on.
Commanding officer.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is your governor speaking.
Today's training evolution taking on corporate media.
The rules of engagement are as follows. Number 1, don't fire unless fired upon. When they fire, you fire back with overwhelming force.
Does it say that in the bill? I'm asking you to tell me what's in the bill.
Number 2, never ever back down from a fight.
So you're gonna give a speech or ask a question?
Number 3, don't accept their narrative.
Wrong. It's a fake narrative. I just disabused you of the narrative, and you don't care about the facts. It's why people don't trust people like you because you peddle false narratives.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
My name is Sandy. I wound up being a Floridian, and I've been working at Krabby Bills for 34 years. Governor DeSantis got my job. A lot of people say that we're really extremely lucky that we're still open. I think we had the fear that we were going to close, and then when the governor spoke that it wasn't going to happen, that the state will never close down, it was a sigh of relief. Yes, we're going to be open. We're here to stay. Governor DeSantis kept us free. Florida's thriving.
In South Florida, water is our way of life. From our beaches to our fisheries, our water quality is tied to our prosperity. That's why Governor DeSantis secured a record $3.3 billion to restore the Everglades after years of neglect, advanced reservoir projects to clean the water, restored the flow of water to Florida Bay, and protected Biscayne Bay. Governor DeSantis improved our water quality and is protecting our natural resources, leaving Florida to God better than we found it.
Throughout the night, we'll continue that, and we're watching some big races very closely. Ohio getting more numbers in. We obviously made those calls in Florida and Virginia, those House races that we've been watching, the 3 that are very crucial. They're telling us how maybe this night is shaping up.
Yep. Are we going to look at those? Are we going to go? Or are we going to panel? Panel. Carl, you were just looking at North Carolina, which we can look at some of the early vote in. What are you thinking
I
of?
was actually looking at Virginia results, which I've got a source that's more up to date than ours there. But if you look at it, Virginia 7. I'm looking at over half the vote in, and Vega is keeping her lead with more than half the vote in, and same in 2. I'm looking at.
We have 31%.
I'm looking at 38 there, and it's it's the same, 58-42.
What I'm hearing is that they were winning in the early vote in Virginia too.
Well, I'm saying the Republican is winning by the same margin with I'm looking at about 40% of the vote.
Okay, back on 7 then. You want that?
Go ahead, Kellyanne.
Well, no, this Yesley Vega, I've been watching these ads in Washington, D.C. for a while now. She has her Spanish-speaking father in the ad. They've thrown everything at her, basically calling her the sexist and racist, the usual January 6th stuff. They don't talk about inflation, crime. I think she's going to prevail. Another Hispanic woman who is winning as a Republican. But I'm really interested in the Elaine Gloria race, just very quickly. She's on the January 6th committee, and she became nationally known because of her time on the January 6th committee. Adam Kinzinger resigned. Liz Cheney was defeated handily. Stephanie Murphy, a Florida Democrat on the committee, also resigned. And now Elaine Gloria may actually lose. And you say, oh, well, what can you read into that? Well, I don't think that's all coincidence. I think it's some causation. You see in everybody's polling, January 6th is a major electoral issue, declining in importance. And I think if you put almost all into that, and not talking about the issues that people care about in your district, you really run the risk of losing. So keep an eye on that race.
This was a district that is considered by the Cook Report to be a Republican plus 2 district. Right now, the Republican is winning by 16. Go to number 7. Number 7 is seen as a Democrat plus 1 district, and the Republican is winning by 11, nearly 11. And then go to 10. 10 is a plus 10 Democrat district, and the Democrat is winning by, let's see, 3.
I'll give you another one here that's kind of stuck out to me down in Florida. Florida to me starts sounding a little bit like Arizona 20 years ago, right? Oklahoma or Kansas. I mean, you really think about how red it's becoming here. This is Senate level here, okay? This is Osceola County. South of Orlando, a ton of people, 100,000, both sides of the river. Joe Biden won this county by 12 points. It's 56% Latino. So as we move throughout the night, and we think about the results in Florida, Miami-Dade, and we think about Osceola, think about Cuban Americans, American Latinos, and what's going to happen along that border between Texas and Mexico. There are 3 great little house races that we're about to get to in a moment here, so we'll see that. Maybe it shows up again in Nevada, Carl, and maybe Colorado and some other places.
Focused a lot on these Senate races, how tight they are, but there is a disconnect a little bit with these House races that seem like they're separated. Some of them. Can you go to Indiana 1 for Dana Perino?
Sure. I sure can. That's a Senate race. We called that for Young on the House race here. Was it 2008, the primary race in the Democratic South between Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton? I remember working until 2 o'clock in the morning waiting for results out of Nebraska. And we're like, what are we doing here? And one night, Indiana had the primary, and we had our entire focus on Lake County, which is Gary, Indiana. And I don't think they're reporting that.
Yeah, it was very low.
Thank you for indulging me.
All right, Ben, what are you looking at?
You know, I think that what we may be seeing here is the summer of love coming home to roost. You remember that comment from the Seattle mayor about, the 2020, strife and violence that we saw, that she hoped for it being the summer of love. She's not the mayor anymore, by the way. And there was obviously a lot of skepticism about that, I think, after 2020, saying, this association with the Black Lives Matter movement may not have hurt Democrats as much and that sort of thing. I think now you're seeing all these different suburban, particularly women, but suburban areas of the country come back and express themselves about the Democratic continued devotion to this anti-cop, pro sort of chaos agenda, because it's not just crime, it's homelessness, it's vagrancy, it's all the things that we see. And I think in a number of these areas, particularly not just these Virginia races, but I think we may end up seeing this in New York's Hudson River Valley, and we may see it in Pennsylvania 17, which is the suburb of the Allegheny County, the old Common Land District. You could see this really playing out, I think, in a way that could prove very beneficial for Republicans in the House.
And again, you're seeing the impact of the last 2 years, whether it's the Black Lives Matter movement or COVID, and you're seeing this enormous change in the state of Florida. I think about the cover of the New York Post a month or so ago, 50,000 people, leaving New York. So that's going to be interesting. We look at the New York vote and see what happened, when those disgruntled people all left. That may be a factor in the governor races.
We are 38 seconds away from some next race calls and awaiting results from key battleground states. We, as you see, are getting raw vote totals added to our Fox News voter analysis, which enables us and the decision desk to make some of these calls. We are also tracking a lot of...
Not support the policies of Biden and Pelosi and Schumer. So my dear friends who repeat that fallacy and that lie, look at the number. It's not misinformation. It's that the people of Florida know what is happening in Washington, know what needs to happen in Washington. And give me a few seconds. I want to say some words in Spanish. Gracias a todos ustedes por lo que han hecho. Esto es una lección para todo el país. Y a esos que critican a nuestra comunidad y dice que la comunidad nuestra tiene que estar confundida, que hay mala información, que se enteren. Si hay alguien, si hay una comunidad que sabe lo que es el extremismo y el socialismo, son ustedes, los latinos en Miami-Dade County. Así que...
And I wish the best to my fellow Floridians, because I love this state. I love her with all my heart. And you're great, good, decent, kind people, and you deserve nothing better than the very best that God has to offer. And I want to thank God. God's real, and God exists, and all glory to God, because we have so much to be thankful for. Please, really, do that. Elizabeth, Kathy, I love you so much. It's great to see you, my wonderful sisters. My beautiful fiance, now we can get married, Chelsea, and her beautiful children. And I'm a happy man, and I am at peace. And I'm grateful to all of you. And I just wish you all the very best. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving and a very Merry Christmas. God bless Florida. Love you.
I don't normally speak, and it's actually a phobia of mine to public speak, but I just have to say I can't go without. And I don't want to cry, but I'm so proud of him. Yes! And I want to say that I'm so proud of the people that saw that someone needs to stand up to a bully. Yeah. And it's not the end. And I don't think anyone should ever take a message from and not stop trying to protect the people that are underprivileged, the people in minority communities, the people that are LGBTQ, the people that everything that you stand for. The reason that you spend hours every morning returning phone calls from people of Florida. And I couldn't be more proud, even though of the result. I want to thank God, and I want to thank Charlie, and I want to thank all of you right now. Thank you.
Chelsea should have run. I love you. Thank you.
How you doing? They got you out again tonight?
Potentially record turnout today for a midterm election, and that's notable because about 90% of New Hampshire voters show up in person to vote on election day, and that is something that the Bolding campaign says if there's record turnout, that is a win for them. Martha and Brett.
Okay, Hillary, thank you. The Fox News Decision Desk can now project that Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth will defeat Republican Attorney Kathy Salvi. Duckworth is a Iraq War veteran, Purple Heart recipient.
Also in Illinois, the Decision Desk says that Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker will win a second term as he prevails over his GOP challenger, Darren Bailey.
Let's bring back our panel. I want to turn to Ohio, Harold Ford Jr., and you've talked a lot about Democrats, how you thought the best candidate they had on the field was Tim Ryan in that Senate race against J.D. Vance. He is performing pretty well. If you look at the vote total coming in, we don't have all of it, obviously, to be able to make a projection, but it is neck and neck in Ohio. That is a red-leaning state.
He's run a campaign, and the race is not over, so I'm going to say ran. He's run a campaign on the economy, on helping everyday Ohioans get to higher ground and make life better for their kids. That's the kind of campaign that Democrats, when they didn't win in Ohio and Pennsylvania, consistent, those are the kind of campaigns they ran in Michigan and across the Midwest. Tim Ryan, win or lose tonight, I think gives a roadmap for Democrats, and I would even argue Republicans, for how you run to represent everyday hardworking Americans. Kellyanne talked about the relief that Biden wants to give to student loan forgiveness. I would happen to agree with you. I don't think that was the right thing to do. Tim has said that. Tim has said that he doesn't believe that Joe Biden should run again in 2024. We're not finding a lot of Republicans who are saying he may want to run or not run, and you're certainly not finding Democrats say that. I'll push back just a little bit on something my friend Tucker said about Black Lives Matter. I don't know how that matters in this campaign at all. I think the reason they're doing so well in Florida is because Ron DeSantis got schools back open, he got bridges built, he got people back in their homes, he got electricity back on. You could be brilliant in running this country. You could be yellow in running this country and get elected and re-elected on those issues. Furthermore, Hispanic voters, they want us to talk about economic growth and helping their kids be better in their lives than they have been in their seat in America. That's what Democrats have to get back to. And finally, Democrats want to lose tonight with the reset. The liberal-leaning, left-leaning people in our party, they may have good intentions, but their ability to implement, let alone come up with good proposals, has proved lacking. And tonight, I think we're going to see more and more of that kind of result.
You know, Carl, I'm looking at Ohio as well here, and maybe we can get a look at where the vote is still outstanding. And it's interesting, we did a town hall discussion with Tim Ryan and J.D. Vance just about a week ago, and one of the things that Tim Ryan has complained about is that the party abandoned him, and that he was not given the money that he needed to run this race because he had distanced himself a lot from Joe Biden, and also because they thought they didn't have a chance in Ohio.
Yeah, look, it was a state that Donald Trump carried by 8 points. Carried the state of Ohio by a bigger margin than he carried Texas. So Schumer made a decision, the Senate and Democratic leader, that his super PAC would not be involved in the race. McConnell invested $35 million in the race, and which would have been useful to spend elsewhere, but Vance needed the help because he won the primary with less than 30% of the vote and was being challenged by Ryan.
Worth noting that Vance was one of the candidates who had criticized McConnell.
Right.
And McConnell weighs in with PAC money that he rounds up to try to save his candidacy. Right. In the meantime, a certain other person we can talk about who raised a ton of money spent very damn little to support the candidates that he endorsed.
There were a lot of outside groups that pumped money into Ohio to help J.D. Vance at the beginning.
Yeah, well, Peter Thiel put, I think, $15 million into a super PAC to get him elected, and then hasn't been seen in the general election. I think Brett's point is an accurate one. Let's see where the $100 million that President Trump has in his war chest after the election. Think about how it could have been deployed.
And when you've got a discrepancy like we're seeing between the governor's race with Mike DeWine and the Senate race with J.D. Vance. I mean, you could drive a truck through it right now.
Take a look at the big suburban county just north of Columbus, Delaware County.
Hey, Bill, can you put that up line?
DeWine is carrying it handily, and Vance is losing it to Ryan. This is a big Republican.
Tonight, interview on television, asked about the candidates that he endorsed. Mr. Trump said, quote, this is a quote, I've seen the video, he said this, quote, well, I think if they win, I should get all the credit. If they lose, I should not be blamed at all. He was kidding.
Say something about Ohio, though. Ohio has a Democratic Senator, Sherrod Brown. He gets reelected pretty handily. And that's not ticket splitting so much as they go for people who talk about their issues. If Tim Ryan is the future of the Democratic Party in the roadmap, Joe Biden is irrelevant after tonight. You just admitted it, my
There
friend.
might be another guy relevant too with this stuff.
Well, let's just focus on this for a moment. I mean, Tim Ryan votes with Joe Biden 100% of the time, more than some of these other Democratic Senate candidates. And yet he runs ads bear hugging Donald Trump on trade. And so we'll see if that actually works here. But they do have a Democratic Senator in Sherrod Brown.
Just quickly, where was the outstanding votes? I mean, it's not a lot. There's a lot of electoral.
Correct. So this is what we're doing here, just so that folks at home can see. We've got the 28%, okay? If we go into the purple range, the deeper the purple, the more outstanding the vote, okay? So let's go put this into action and try and find where the votes are, okay? Look, what I see here, Tim Ryan's from Northeastern Ohio. He's from Trumbull County, born in Ohio. He represented that District 13. He got redrawn, which is a little further west. But this is, I'll show you. This is Mahoning County. Take the check off, Trumbull County, sorry. That's where he's from. But he represented Mahoning County, which is Youngstown. There's no votes coming in yet for Tim Ryan in Mahoning County, so we'll see how that goes. Just come back statewide and just look at this here, okay? So we'll take a step back here, all right? There are a lot of votes here just south of Toledo, right? It's hard to say right now. If you were to ask me, based on what I'm watching here, I live in Northeastern Ohio. It just seems to be the darker purple there in some of these counties up in the northeastern part of the state. We'll see which way. It can be, yeah. I tell you, what's really interesting about that part of Ohio is that that's when you knew in 2016 that Trump was going to win this election. Because these were deep blue counties, Brett. They've been voting for Democrats for 50 years, and they crossed over to vote for Donald Trump. And that was really the first sign that night when I was watching this thing. That will take you back there. Well, now this is 2020. And you see what Trump did. These are border counties along Pennsylvania. Energy's a big deal up there, blue-collar workers. It really tapped into what Donald Trump was talking about. Ashton Bueller, you see where he is. He was 60% for Trump. Down here in Trumbull County, it was better than 50% there. And Mahoning County, which is Youngstown, it's tighter, but still he came out a victor there in Mahoning County, Columbiana. Not as many voters there, but still 71%. So come back here now to what year are we in? 2022, he said. And okay, so this is how it's breaking down, all right? So up in the same part of the state that I just showed you. You see how blue it is, okay? Let's just go in here and see how many, okay, you're at a quarter of the votes. Ryan has a slight lead there. You're at a third of the vote here. He's 60% there. Nothing from Mahoney. Let's pop over here just one quarter of this county. Yes. Great question. Let me check that. I haven't gone there yet. Okay, all right, just hang with me. Let's just do the same exercise. DeWine won in Ashton Bueller. All right. DeWine won in Trumbull. All right, this is Akron down here, Stark County. DeWine won in Stark County. This is like Tim Ryan's. That's where he's from, right? He's at 56%. So that's how he's making it Northeastern Ohio.
We'll dig into it. Thank you. I love that. No, that was beautiful. You know Ohio. It was brilliant. Even Dana likes it. Results from key Florida House races. We can call now Maria Salazar. This is Florida 27. She is a winner down there in Florida. And the balance of power of the House, we can take a look at it. And it's a big one. I mean, it's not small. You can see 34-19. We're going to be ticking through all of these seats again. The majority is 218. Good one, right? To take care of there.
Be right back.
When the fog clears, dozens of new conservatives will be heading to Washington. When they arrive, they'll have an ally.
Como un inmigrante colombiano, Florida representa la base donde todos entramos a este país con el sueño americano.
Yo apoyo al gobernador Ron DeSantis porque él entiende todas las culturas de la Florida.
El gobernador Ron DeSantis está protegiendo todos los derechos de los padres. El estado de la Florida está libre por Ron DeSantis. El gobernador Ron DeSantis es valiente, dedicado y bien inteligente. Yo diría que, sobre todo, luchador. Sabemos muy bien la importancia de lo que es un gobierno que está llevado a cabo de una persona que sí sabe liderar.
Debido a Ron DeSantis, los jóvenes tenemos más oportunidades.
Si nosotros queremos vivir en libertad, sin la imposición del gobierno en nuestra vida, para tener una Florida libre, tenemos que reelegir a Ron DeSantis.
DeSantis 2022, manteniendo la Florida libre.
When the pandemic happened, we told our staff, no one's going hungry, no one's going to miss rent. Everyone pivoted, they adjusted their business model to stay open. But we were given that ability because of Ron DeSantis. He was allowing us as business owners to make those decisions. Here in South Florida, people view Ron DeSantis as a hero. Because without these small businesses, communities don't thrive. I'm voting for Governor DeSantis because he's got a spine and his policies make sense. Ron DeSantis 2022, keeping Florida free.
Governor DeSantis has made Florida a stronger, safer, freer place to live. He didn't shut us down. He lifted us up, saving jobs, cutting taxes, fighting families' relief. Students are receiving first-class education, and parents' rights are protected. First responders have the support they need to keep us safe, and our natural resources are being preserved with record funding. Governor DeSantis
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Congressman Byron Donalds.
So, Florida, yo, I didn't even get to the speech. All I said was, so, Florida. You know, I've been through a lot of states the last 2 years. I've been telling them in Arizona, in Nevada, in Massachusetts, in Illinois, in North Carolina, in Georgia, in Texas, that a red wave was coming to the United States of America. And that red wave has started right here in the great state of Florida. We have 4 new Republican members going to the House of Representatives tonight. We have our new colleague and your former Secretary of State, Laurel Lee, a veteran of our military in Corey Mills, a former servant of our great state in Tallahassee, Aaron Bean, and a personal favorite of mine, and y'all, she's a rock star. You're going to hear from her soon, Miss Anna Paulina Luna herself. Did y'all just see what Marco Rubio did? I mean, Florida, 1 million votes, Florida? Woo! Woo! Wilson Simpson's going to be our agriculture commissioner. We have re-elected the very best attorney general in these United States, Ashley Moody. But the pièce de resistance, the top of the food chain, is a guy who 4 years ago was newly elected Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. He then became America's Governor Ron DeSantis. And he is now being crowned by me. And wait, this is all coming off the top of my head, y'all. He's now being crowned by me as the man who knows how to send Charlie Crist into permanent retirement. None of this could have been possible without all of you. You are the ones who have knocked on the doors. You are the ones who made the calls. You are the one who texted your friends. You are the ones, especially some of y'all down front, you're the ones who wrote the checks. We know who you are. We see you. We thank you. But more than that, you have told the rest of the country we are sick and tired of Democrat leadership, and in Florida, we don't want to see it anymore. You told them loud and clear they can keep their lockdowns in New York. You told them loud and clear that they can keep kids out of classroom in Chicago. But when you come across I-75 or I-95, if you land in Miami International or in Jacksonville International, you are now in the land of the free, which is the great state of Florida. Tonight I have also a special joy, because in a couple days we have to go back to Washington, D.C., and we get to look at the rostrum in the House of Representatives, and we get to tell Nancy Pelosi, you are now fired by the American people. Chuck Schumer, forgive Chuck Schumer, but nobody listens to him anyway. But we're well on our way to taking back the United States Senate. But man, Florida, I gotta tell you, the one thing I'm really happy about tonight is I didn't have to wait for Miami-Dade to report it. I mean, the people in Miami-Dade said, Ron DeSantis kept our businesses open and he's to be rewarded. And so, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. And I see some children running around the room tonight. They've been getting all kind of snacks and everything. But I'm gonna tell you right now, in a couple of moments, now trust me, some very, very few moments. Y'all shh. Tell the people by the bar to shh. In a few moments, you are going to do the thing that the rest of America has been waiting to hear. You are going to cheer for the newly re-elected, Democrat-beaten, freedom standing for America's Governor, Ron DeSantis. God bless you, Florida. God bless America.
Trey Gowdy had the answer.
This is formerly known as press. Yeah, but it's not time to vote yet, so stand by. Okay, let me take this off. Let me see what county this is. This is Davie County, all right? No votes are in. Well, what happened 2 years ago at the presidential level? Well, Trump was a big winner in that county. Picked up about 14,000 votes total raw. Here you are, 11,005. They'll do the math for me. So that's out there. Let me come back out here a moment. And let me do this. Oh, shoot, it did not work. Here, guys, let me reload it for you.
While you're reloading, Dana has a comment.
Yep,
well,
go
just
ahead,
one
Dana.
thing that's pretty interesting about North Carolina, when Bill and I had an opportunity to talk to Ted Budd when he was in town, so he really comes across as a farmer. And he's kind of an understated guy, and his ads were apparently not that exciting. And Beasley she's a well-respected judge in North Carolina. One thing that's really happened in these cities, though, is the amount of people who have moved into Raleigh and Charlotte and that whole area there, that has changed that population a lot. We were talking about how many people left New England or New York for Florida and how that might have changed some things there. North Carolina, it might not happen this time around, but those pivot counties that Kelly Ann mentioned in those urban areas are ones to watch in North Carolina.
Carl?
Look, it's not only where the votes are, but just remember again, this is our blue wave, red wave, blue mirage, red mirage. The votes that you're seeing here are predominantly, virtually all of the early vote is going to be the mail-in ballots because they start processing them when they come in. They announce them early. We've seen this before. Tom Tillis was behind in his races, won by a small number of several tens of thousands of votes because the late vote to come in is the vote that's being cast on election day.
Just to recue, Florida was a hold. Ohio, we're watching very closely. That's a Republican defense. Brett. Pennsylvania, also a Republican seat they're trying to hold on to, as is North Carolina.
Yeah, and I have now for you the political comment of the evening.
Okay.
Maybe of all time. Something is saying over on MSNBC that the GOP's dominance in Florida is all about gerrymandering.
Well, that's a pretty good trick. So that's a story they will tell themselves to exactly.
Incidentally, on North Carolina, just a few moments ago, the lead was 53,000. It's now down to 32,000. So, as election day votes get reported here, we're likely to see this.
It's a race that we didn't give a lot of attention to. We did not give a lot of attention to
Even the committees, and some of the committees and super PACs.
Well, except on the Republican side, they did. I mean, again, the Senate Leadership Fund, American Crossroads, but I had fun, put like 30 cents.
How to get that in there. Okay, stand by.
Disclosure.
It is 9 o'clock in the East, and polls have just closed in 15 more states. We're going to begin here in battleground state of Arizona, where Democratic Senator Mark Kelly and Republican venture capitalist Blake Masters are in a very tight race.
Over to Wisconsin, incumbent Republican Senator Ron Johnson, Democratic Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes, also locked in a very close race in Wisconsin.
In Colorado, also too early to call here, but incumbent Democratic Senator Michael Bennet leads at this point. Republicans believe that Joe O'Dea, who is a local business owner, an independent type Republican, has a good chance to take that seat. We'll watch it.
We can project that in Iowa, Republican Senator Chuck Grassley has a solid lead in his Senate race. If Grassley wins re-election, he would become the longest-serving sitting senator.
In New York, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer will win his 5th term in office.
Meanwhile, in Kansas, we're projecting that GOP Senator Jerry Moran will win his 3rd term in office.
North Dakota, we can project that Republican Senator John Hoeven has the lead, but we do not have enough data yet to make that call.
And Republican Senator John Thune has won re-election in South Dakota. As we take a look at balance of power in the Senate, we are ticking down here. Democrats with 39, Republicans with 34, again the majority 51. Republicans again holding those seats in Florida. We're looking at Ohio, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, but they're looking to pick up seats a number of places throughout the country.
We're going to see those numbers fill in, and then we're going to see White just that sits there for a really long time in the middle of the Senate. So let's take a look at this in New York. This has become a really closely watched race because of the crime issue in New York. The incumbent, Kathy Hochul, has a lead at this point against Lee Zeldin. I mean, there was a time not too long ago where nobody thought this was going to be even close, but he has really given her a run for her money. So we will see how this all goes, but that's where it stands at this point.
In Arizona, another high-profile contest. It's too early to call the race between Democratic Secretary of State Katie Hobbs and Republican Carrie Lake.
Go to Michigan, where Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer has a slight lead. That race is too close to call.
And in Wisconsin, the race between Governor Tony Evers and his opponent Tim Michels, the Republican, too early to call there. Just like in the Senate, another very tight race.
Texas, our decision desk believes that Republican Governor Greg Abbott has a lead, but that was also too early to call.
In Kansas, Republican challenger Derek Schmidt and Democratic Governor Laura Kelly are locked in a very tight race. Democrats have a lot of hopes about Kansas.
In Minnesota, the governor's race, Democratic incumbent Tim Walz has a lead against his Republican challenger, Scott Jensen.
And in New Mexico, not enough data yet to call this race. This is a showdown between the Democratic incumbent Michelle Lujan Grisham and Republican candidate Mark Ronchetti.
And to the Rocky Mountains and in Colorado, incumbent Governor Jared Polis will defeat GOP candidate Heidi Ganahl.
In South Dakota, not enough data to project the winner of the governor's race between incumbent Kristi Noem and Democratic challenger Jamie Smith, but Noem does lead at this hour.
Let's go to Iowa, where we can project that Republican incumbent Kim Reynolds will return to the governor's mansion for a 2nd term.
And in Nebraska, Republican Jim Pillen is in the lead, again too early to call.
Finally, in Wyoming, where there are a lot of disgruntled people, apparently, according to our Fox News voter analysis, we're projecting that Republican Governor Mark Gordon will cruise through to another term where he beats Democratic candidate Teresa.
Together, we have made Florida the freest state in these United States. If they want to shut down businesses, you're damn right, I'm going to stand in the way. I'm going to stand with these folks here because they have a right to make a living, and I don't think government has a right to put these people out of work.
The chance that I am going to back down from my commitment to students and back down from my commitment to parents' rights, the chances of that are zero.
Will they ever retire, Dr. Fauci?
If I had my druthers, you know, you'd take them and you'd chuck them across the Potomac.
It's a fake narrative. I just disabused you of the narrative, and you don't care about the facts.
I don't care what corporate media outlets say. I don't care what Hollywood says. I don't care what big corporations say. Here I stand. I'm not backing down.
We are going to carry this torch of freedom
because our mission is very simple. We are keeping the state of Florida free. Thank you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, Governor Ron DeSantis.
For the citizens of the United States, and above all, for the cause of freedom. We saw freedom in our very way of life, and so many other jurisdictions in this country wither on the vine. Florida held the line. We chose facts over fear. We chose education over indoctrination. We chose law and order over rioting and disorder. Florida was a refuge of sanity when the world went mad. We stood as the citadel of freedom for people across this country and indeed across the world. We faced attacks. We took the hits. We weathered the storms. But we stood our ground. We did not back down. We had the conviction to guide us, and we had the courage to lead. We made promises. We made promises to the people of Florida, and we have delivered on those promises. And so today, after 4 years, the people have delivered their verdict. Freedom is here to stay. We have rewritten the political map. Thank you for honoring us with a win for the ages. I want to thank all of our campaign staff, from campaign manager Janera Peck down. This was the best run campaign in the history of Florida politics. Thank all of our wonderful volunteers who worked so hard to get out the vote. Your support means the world to Casey and I. God bless you and thank you. Now, it's a lot easier to run a good campaign when you got a great record to run on. And I would not have been able to see the level of accomplishments that we saw unless I had outstanding personnel working in the executive office of the governor, as well as heading state agencies. These folks worked hard to implement our agenda. They believed in our agenda, and the results have been historic. Thank you for your support. Thank you to Miami-Dade County. tallying the votes, but it's clearly apparent that this election, we will have garnered a significant number of votes from people who may not have voted for me 4 years ago. And I just want to let you know, I am honored to have earned your trust and your support. And most important of all, thank you to the greatest First Lady in all 50 states. For being a great wife, giving unwavering support, being a tremendous mother to our 3 young children, and serving as an example for women throughout this state, especially going through the battle of cancer. She is remarkable. Now, today, is the culmination of the 2022 fall elections, but in reality, Americans have been voting for many years now. They've been voting with their feet, and the results of that behavior has been just as stark as our landslide victory today. States and cities governed by leftist politicians have seen crime skyrocket. They've seen their taxpayers abused. They've seen medical authoritarianism imposed, and they've seen American principles discarded. The woke agenda has caused millions of Americans to leave these jurisdictions for greener pastures. Now, this great exodus of Americans, for those folks, Florida, for so many of them, has served as the promised land. We have embraced freedom. We have maintained law and order. We have protected the rights of parents. We have respected our taxpayers, and we reject woke ideology. We fight the woke in the legislature. We fight the woke in the schools. We fight the woke in the corporations. We will never, ever surrender to the woke mob. Florida is where woke is. Because our policies work. Leadership matters. We refuse to use polls and put our finger in the wind. Leaders don't follow, they lead. We set out a vision. We executed on that vision, and we produced historic results. And the people of this state have responded in record fashion. Now, while our country flounders due to failed leadership in Washington, Florida is on the right track. I believe the survival of the American experiment requires a revival of true American principles. Florida has proved that it can be done. We offer a ray of hope that better days still lie ahead. I am proud of our achievements in this state. I am honored by your support, and I look forward to the road ahead. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race in this first term, and I have kicked the fence. We've accomplished more than anybody thought possible 4 years ago, but we've got so much more to do, and I have only begun to fight. God bless you all. Thank you for a historic landslide victory.
DeSantis knows how to lead.